SKT actually banned Zed on the blue side, which tells me they didn't care about that, but they get the Jax again, and he has been dominant. Impact has not been outdone in that lane.
And I have to question the Vi ban as well from RYL.
Why are they so scared of Vi?
I'm not totally sure, but Benji has shown he can play so many different champions. He played Jarvan in the first game, he played Lee in the second game, he did so well. Why do you keep banning out one of his champions when he just has something else he keeps going back to? But it will be very interesting to see what they're going to pick up now, because they have to do something, RYL.
And you were talking about the lane phase when we were off air, we were just discussing it. Caitlyn, you keep wondering why he keeps going. This is Uzi I'm talking about, why he keeps heading towards that Vayne. Why is he not going towards that Caitlyn?
It's a good question. Obviously, RYL wants to go for the 2v1. That is what they're best at. So if they get the Vayne, they get a long 2v1, the Vayne will be a perfect pick for them. But so far, they have not been able to get the proper 2v1s. I think he needs to do it safe and go for the Caitlyn so he can actually survive the 2v2 against Piglet without Piglet getting too strong. And here we go, we have the Caitlyn.
Yes, and now this is SKT finally having to adapt a little bit, because as far as supports go for PoohManDu, Zyra and Thresh have been absolutely dominant for him in both games. We know the 80 carries for Piglet have been, especially against the Caitlyn, generally, I'm thinking of Ezreal because he's the safest 80 carry as far as laning goes, and he had such a strong game in Game 2. But they have a little bit of freedom here to just pick whatever support and 80 carry they want. If they want to make RYL's kind of counter pick, go for the lane thing, not work as well, because that has to be what RYL is going for and what SKT has to go for as well.
Well, as expected also, he went back to the Zyra. She's one of the best picks against the Sona or a hard engaged combo. Because when Sona goes in with Flash ult, you put down your Zyra ultimate behind Sona so it hits the enemy team going in. We actually saw it in the mid-team fight though, where SKT lost it. He still put down his ult after the engage on Piglet, and 4 people got knocked up and kind of saved Piglet at least until the Kassadin came in with the Flash Rift Walk.
So the fact that they pick Corki as well, I think is also more against getting dove on, because if anyone is going to be better at cleaning up from people running into Zyra's Stranglethorns and Grasping Roots, it's going to be Corki for the more damage. I do like that pick, especially if SKT is expecting 2v1s.
Oh yeah, but even in 2v2, they will now have a strong combo to fight against the Caitlyn. If they're gone for like a Zyra Vayne, for instance, they would actually have given the lane to RYL. So now they're making sure they have the strong lane, and they're making sure that if they get 2v2, they will do everything they can to outplay them.
So let's talk about those mid lanes, because that has been one of the pivotal points.
Yeah.
Wh1t and Uzi, Faker and Wh1t actually have been pretty close in those lane phases. We saw it last game, despite the fact he got Zed. He went big. Wh1t did on Kassadin, that's the word I'm after. That's potentially a top lane Kennen, I believe, not
That
Wh1t.
is definitely a top lane Kennen. And now they're just going through all the champions to have the top lane to see what can handle the Jax. Kennen is a good option, but I am afraid that he will not have a much easier time than he has been having the last few games, and this Jax will once again be a huge problem.
Yeah, SKT has their choice of kind of what they want to do here. I think the Jarvan is for sure. The Nidalee I'm not too sure about. The reason that I think Bengi is going to be playing Jarvan, as Piglet's having a little fun with this one again. He had the Quinn in the last game. Quinn again. Come the 5-second mark, he's going to make his real decision. The Jarvan pick, though, is almost an absolute, just because Bengi is so strong with it.
The Gragas pick now here is really good because it's the safest pick they have.
Yeah.
If they ran for Ahri, RYL could have gone Vladimir, which they really consider a counter for Ahri.
That's got to be Fizz coming in from RYL after this.
It pretty much has to be Fizz, and they have to snowball the early game and then win and get back in this series. So we are right now hoping for Fizz.
Well, we'll see how it works out. How do you counter how do you see the Kennen versus Jax? Because this is one of the counters we talked about possibly against Renekton. How does he do up against the Jax?
Well, he will be able to farm safely. That's the thing for Kennen. And he will be able to do that throughout the entire lane phase until they hit about the level 9-10 points, where Jax is simply going to start outscaling and he can simply start out-pushing Kennen. But by that time, hopefully RYL is not that far behind as they've been in these two games, the two first games, and they will be able to start doing proper team fights where Kennen will really shine. And now we got the Fizz.
Yeah, and I look at SKT's team comp right now, and it is very similar to the things they've played in the first 3 games. They actually haven't had to change all that much about their play style, even though they've had 2 games, or even though they had that first game on the red side. Although this time their lanes are not quite as strong. So Faker's performance in this one, as well as Impact, are probably going to be the 2 most pivotal lanes, not so much the Piglet and Mandu lane, I think.
No, but this is what I want to see from RYL. Stronger lanes all around, and a chance of actually winning the laning phase, maybe get the first dragon, get the first few towers, and then start snowballing. If Wh1t can get a few kills on Fizz early game, he can definitely carry this game alone.
Well, there are the teams, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much once again, Deficio, for taking us through that, calling quite a lot of those picks, I might add, you guys. You have really done your research on this one. So, Game 3 is upon us. If RYL can pull out a win here, we'll see them back in towards Game 4. But if tragedy were to strike in that dangerous level 1 zone, which they have been going towards, SKT could be taking away the cup. And well, I think everybody wants to see a Game 4 here, Riv.
A big focus has to be them winning the lanes. Like Jet said, if you lose every lane, you're going to lose the game. And it's been somewhat different picks coming in for SKT. They've shown a few different things, but if they can keep going with the same sure thing that's winning it, it's harder every game for RYL to ban it out.
And the thing I find most interesting is that Faker went back for Gragas. Yes, it was a safe pick, but it is not a counter pick this time. Faker is saying that he's settled in at this point and he can handle anything that people throw at him. One of the legends of Faker before the World Championships is that he could win matchups that he wasn't supposed to be able to win. Let's see if he can do this one.
Let's see how it works out, because White is on his fabled champion. It's the champion that's always been banned against him in the Chinese scene, but this time around he has got on that Fizz. We've seen some fantastic Fizzes throughout the Season 3 World Championships, thinking back to Peke's 17-1-3 that he had on it, but then again it didn't work out too well against RYL. Will we see any level 1 play from these two? Because so far, up against the Zyra, I wouldn't want to run into the jungle of SKT.
Zyra is so dangerous, but RYL could put out some significant damage if they were to group up as 5, but this is so different from RYL. They're just setting up a completely defensive line, and this is no way in the way that RYL played in the semifinals. They are definitely off their level 1 start game, but I do think it's because the fear of the Zyra.
See what they got. They're 100 gold up right now. That's pretty efficient for them. Starting with those masteries for Tabe, getting a little bit extra money. That's what that will be. We do know, as we saw Impact hitting that ward towards the top lane, so everybody is privy to that location. We'll see what we have going on here as everybody's trying to figure out which lane they really want to go to.
Yeah, they spotted GoDlike in that top lane, and you can see already 2v1 switches coming out from SK Telecom, so they want to send Piglet and Mandu in towards that top lane.
You can hear a RYL chant attempting to come out from the crowd, trying to cheer them on for this Game 3 win, but I don't know how much the cheers are going to help the level 1 jungle sneakiness.
Nobody looks like they're getting in for that force smite on this time. It was something that RYL tried to test their hand at the bottom side of the map, but everybody stays safe once again. And we'll actually see it is Bengi going to put himself for the 2v1 lane, so he will be going to the correct one, and it's actually going to be Lucky going to his 2v1 lane on the 2 side, so a little different.
Yeah, last time we saw this, Impact went towards those golems as well, so expect him to be going into that lane very late. GoDlike's going to face check in there. He danced the flash away from this one. We do see Exhaust already burnt out. A flash for Exhaust. That was a very good start for SKT.
This is one of the side effects for RYL of not scouting the lanes with any wards or jungle invades, but that's a classic situation of what happens if people are in here. It's bad. What happens if people are not in here? It's not as, like, just don't check. There's no good outcome from checking that brush, and GoDlike has to use his flash.
If it comes up to a 50-50, you don't do it. That's the best bet. That's what we're saying here. Nothing has been swayed too much because of that, but there may be a bit more focus in that top lane for the gank onto GoDlike with his flash being down, coming up around 7 minutes.
So last time they did this, 2v1, they did push the tower very early RYL game, RYL Club, sorry. And we'll see whether it works out for them this time around. Early advantage is being gained by Whites, but, you know, Faker's just going to farm out up against that turret, be very passive. And Impact, you can see he's going to be sitting on that turret. He's taken a lot of damage early on, though.
Yeah, but even though these are 1v2s, Impact has been outplaying GoDlike in all of these games. And the fact that GoDlike had to go back to base immediately, Impact is going to be ahead of him in experience, even if he's only 5 ahead in CS.
GoDlike trying to soak up a little bit of experience as he knows he's being forced away from the turret here. Might even have to take his E on that second spell at level 2 just to get into his safe range. GoDlike, he's going to be pressuring this top lane, so it's going to draw Lucky up for quite a bit of time. Yeah,
and Mandu's Zyra is just so potent. He is an incredible harasser. As far as supports go, Zyra has the longest auto attack range, if we don't count Annie, because that's kind of a new support. But as far as 575, it outranges Kennen, and Mandu can trade without getting damage back.
Great aggression from Mandu. They're actually locking up Lucky. Just keeping the pure aggression on GoDlike, making it sure he couldn't get that siege min and keeping away from the big chunks of gold.
Keeping Piglet healthy in that top lane is all they're looking to do. We do see Bengi soaking up some cupcakes here for Impact in the bottom lane. No, ganks coming from those red or blue buffs, so it looks like they're just going to hold off on the mids. Whites and Faker going at it, 21-19 on the CS. It's really the first one to back that gains that huge gap, and usually don't come back after that, so we'll have to see how that level goes, as they are both 4 in mid lane.
Yeah, both junglers being drawn to help out their solo lanes, and it seems to be working okay for them so far, but it does mean that early aggression from Lucky on Elise will not be coming into play. He won't be able to get down this bottom, but look at bengi. Set, ready to pounce. They're going to go Uzi. He is going to get quickly jump away from that one, tries to turn that aggression around, but again, it's another flash burn for RYL.
Yeah, and RYL at the moment is pushed back to almost all of their turrets, which is the situation they've been trying to avoid in both of their 2 losses. If RYL cannot take down early turrets into the game, it has been shown that they don't win games.
And with the vision of him bottom lane, they know bengi's not going to be here for this. They don't decide to continue connecting, even though he's very low on mana. Faker is in mid.
So GoDlike in trouble here on this top lane turret. He's going to have to lightning surge away from this one. He's just simply being bullied away from this turret. Both level 4 top laners up against the level 3 solo.
And this is a slightly odd choice here by RYL as a team, because Lucky chose to go jungle as opposed to continue to 2v2 lane, because they were in a form of just trading as far as 2v2 lanes goes with even gold. Instead, Lucky has tried 2 ganks onto Faker, so they're sacrificing GoDlike's farm in an attempt to help Whites' Fizz get going.
White's there with no mana. They're really trying to stretch out the last of what they can get. Maybe Lucky's just about to go back. Yes, they're trying to get something off a last gank before he needs to buy. It was a little weird with Whites having no mana, but the pressure is still on. They have to keep bengi towards the mid lane. With flash down still for GoDlike and flash now down in the bottom lane, they have to give him something else to think about. He cannot get to those lanes.
GoDlike tries to go aggressive on Piglet. In a moment, Mandu shows himself. They switch around, but look at this top lane push from RYL. GoDlike thought about drawing them in, maybe could bait them in there. We do have the lane swaps coming out early, so this is RYL switching it up.
Yeah, and no matter what happens in these games, it seems like Impact is always the one left free farming on Jax. And when RYL played against OMG's Jax, they were able to capitalize when Jax was off pushing lanes, but since the rest of RYL's lanes are losing, they're not able to do that. So while Impact is free farming, RYL isn't gaining anything from it, and they're only increasing the monster that is Impact's Jax in the first 2 games and maybe even this 3rd one.
And being a Kennen player myself, this is rough. They're putting him in a 5 to level 3 lane here. Impact
6.
Now 6. The ultimate's up. A giant minion wave and bengi on the backside.
There's not a great deal GoDlike can do about this one. He's just going to drop and die on the turret. It's first blood for bengi.
And that is just the entire game coming to a head right there, because GoDlike had been denied due to early mistakes, and this 7 minutes later is when the capitalization happens from SKT.
Uzi trying to get himself a little bit of food in that top lane, but they both get out. Piglet, you can see, bleeding pretty bad. Faker, level 7 onto the 6 of Whites, and he plays a little bit of the playful trickster in his favor.
Just slippy sliding from that one, but look at this. bengi coming in for that blue buff, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to counter this one. GoDlike's not going to get involved in this one. He's a level behind. That's a blue steal, clean done by SK Telecom.
And SKT is starting to take hold of this game already. They're already up 2-0 in the World Final right now. This could be their road to a 3-0 if they can hold these lanes, if bengi can continue to gank, and if GoDlike stays behind Impact. SKT is in a fantastic position for this one, but it is far too early to call.
So the lane swaps right now back. RYL changed this up for themselves, is what they're working with. They're trying to adapt now 7 minutes into the game. We have seen RYL drop a turret by this time. We've also seen SKT up in turrets by this time. Now 1-0, about 1,000 gold lead coming in for SKT and Faker. It's really all on to Jarvan, bengi with that first blood and the assist up to the top lane.
Good counter there from Lucky, getting in, taking away that red buff. He'd already lost his own blue. bengi will be taking that, giving it across to Faker there. Oh!
Wait, did? Yeah, it did.
Yeah, he did.
That was the other blue.
Whites is looking at going down the bottom. They're going to try a 3v1 dive in this bottom. I'm still not sure it's going to work because it's against the Jax.
And here's another thing. They could just go for the Dragon. There's a jungler and an AD carrying a support from SKT up there, but instead they're trying to shut down Impact. They land the Shark.
Impact had to know. He started walking back already. GoDlike goes in. He's not even 6 yet. He can't throw down the slicing Maelstrom. They're still going. It takes 3. Impact gets away. The ult just wears off. Woo. It looks like he's going to go down. Whites will get the kill. But look at Lucky at GoDlike. They did not fare well in this fight.
Yeah, uses the Ignite, cleans that one up. But look at the top lane. They are coming up the pressure there. But RYL actually responding to this one, realizing the danger and already backing away.
Let's see what the trade is right here. If RYL can stay alive, I actually think that was a good move overall. They might just end up trading turrets because even though RYL has GoDlike and Lucky incredibly low, there is absolutely nothing that can threaten them, so they should be able to trade back a turret.
We see GoDlike finally getting 6. That slicing Maelstrom is up. Maybe a dragon coming up for RYL. They have the area and crowd control effect to get in here. They're going to go ahead, possibly get this turret. GoDlike, make sure they grab it down. And they're going to go back, possibly to set up for that dragon.
Yeah, they had to make sure that was completed. So gold is still in favor of SK Telecom. So 1-1 in turrets. This is the first time they've been even at this stage for the first 3 games, and it does mean the Whites and Faker are going to back away from this one. That was a kill for Whites on his Fizz.
And most importantly for RYL, that was a kill that turned into an objective, which is something they haven't been able to do yet in this series against SKT. Now, because Uzi's Caitlyn is so proficient at shoving lanes, they're actually getting some turrets down, so the map control is not entirely one-sided.
Oh, Stranglethorns goes down. They go aggressive. Didn't really catch on anyone. Lucky's waiting to try and safeguard away from this one. GoDlike there in support, but I believe that middle turret will be going down the next wave.
Looks like SKT is always moving at the right time. The mana bar is very low for Whites and Uzi right now. It looks like they are going to put themselves in position for a dragon. The pink wards coming out. They pull a 10-minute dragon. It has been the later one. So these teams slowly knowing to give respect to the other one.
Yeah, it's going to be a clean dragon as well. They put pressure on that bottom lane again. GoDlike finally hit level 6, by the way, down that bottom lane. So he is going to clear out the wave, but he's got to be careful he doesn't get dove upon once again by SK Telecom. There's 3 members heading towards him.
Yeah, and that is a huge swing in gold. 975 for the dragon and 750 for the turret, so 1,700 gold basically going for SKT right there. And GoDlike is right back where they started before they executed the dive onto Impact and picked up a turret.
GoDlike will still be all right. Nobody really helping him too much. They're kind of leaving him on an island now to be the facilitator of getting those fights started. The pressure now towards the top lane. We can see White's moving up. Uzi's not playing it aggressive, so he's kind of baiting him into this one.
He uses the ace in the hole, and Fizz on Whites will surely catch him out here. He's going to come around the side any moment now. There's going to be the old cast going out. He is going to get caught. Chum the Waters will pop him up. Will it be enough? He's going to try and back away from this one. Whites just dodges away, didn't have vision, and will not go for it. I think he could have got that.
It would have been tricky because the cask blew him so far back, and he knew that Faker did have his flash. At the best, he makes Faker burn his flash if he chases, and at the worst, it's one of those situations where there's people waiting from SKT in a brush, and they kill White. So I think it was a smart call for him to back away.
With that pressure in the top
Impact!
Tabe! Tabe getting caught out, but the team is there. Impact trying to go very deep. Whoa! A very nice hit up on GoDlike. He's forced to flash in, and they can't get the damage down. Impact is somehow still running around the line.
He just jumps away from this one. They're going to turn it back around. GoDlike just gets mashed where he was. Mandu is the one that picks up the kill, and Faker, well, he's thinking he can get some as well.
It's the dunk squad right there for SKT. Impact and Bengi doing work in the jungle, completely catching Tabe and GoDlike out of position, getting kills, and getting away with it. This could be an SKT roll through another turret.
Here they go, bottom tier, second one in. They're going to be looking for the inhibitors after this in just about every lane. The middle one doesn't seem like it's going to be standing too much longer. SKT is going around the horn. Looks like they'll go back to Bae. On to the next one. The Athene's already finished with the Triforce coming in, sub 13 minutes. I think that might be one of the fastest ones we've seen throughout from group stage to now in the tournament.
Third game running, they've had no response to Impact's Jax, and you just got to wonder with those picks and bans, when will they learn to counter it or just simply ban it out, because they haven't been able to deal with it. SK Telecom had the exact same problem against Najin Sword in the semi-finals. They finally banned it out or picked it away from them.
And it's so interesting too, because we ask when they're going to be able to change. They won't have a chance to change if they lose this third game. Tabe is very clearly stated he is retiring after this World Championships, win or lose. So this could very well be his last game, and they need to find a way to deal with Jax. Already down 3,600 gold. 13 minutes into the game. They were down 5,000 gold last game and nearly mounted a comeback, but that is a tall task against a team as good as SKT.
SKT, a team, you may hear some of them say, you know, we have a leader, yeah, it's in PoohManDu, but a lot of them also say that the leader is all of us. All of us hold those conditions to be a leader, and we can do it. So they communicate during the fights. It's not just one person. You can hear it And I think the coolest thing they said is, we're friends, but we may not show it on stage. We'll show it in our gameplay.
14 minutes gone. Items all heading SK Telecom's way. You can see the Trinity Force on Piglet. Trinity Force will be on Impact. The next moment he backs away, but instead he's going to get eyes on towards Uzi. Is this going to turn around? Bengi comes in there. Bengi in trouble. You can see the jump. The water's going to pop along with Static Shift. Will it be enough to get on towards him? They will pick up the kill, but will it be the detriment? Because look at the top lane. Oh, the tower, not quite.
Oh, flash for flash. PoohManDu getting a little antsy on this one. Tries to get in with Zyra. He may put himself in the water here. No, Wh1t gets popped up by Stranglethorn. Coming around the side.
SKT's behind him,
Can he finish it? The Shuriken misses. Where's Wh1t? Oh, Impact comes in to save the day. And not even Wh1t can believe it.
Wh1t took both hands and
God.
put them into his face after that play. Because that could very well be the last mistake they get to make that clinches this series for SKT. They overdived right there. You could clearly see that they were tunneling for that kill because Faker was on his way down when RYL tried that dive. The fact that they died for it and didn't even pick up the kill could very well put them on tilt here.
We've seen this so many times from Royal Gaming Club. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. They just keep on going aggressive. Keep on pushing towards them. SK Telecom have had an answer every time they've done it. They've got to learn to be a little bit more reserved.
Uzi again trying to bait one in. You can see down to half health after 2 abilities coming out of Faker. He has the blue buff and they don't even want to pressure the 2v1 here. The Lich Bane finished out for Wh1t. The spike in power would have absolutely helped on the last fight. They are still pressuring. They are still in this game. 5,000 gold behind at 5-2 in kills. Coming up on 16 minutes here.
And with that 16-minute marker, we're just now seeing that Bloodthirster just probably being picked up. That is extremely late for Uzi. He needed that at 13 minutes, and Wh1t goes in while Caitlyn's not there.
Playful Trickster up and down. The crescendo does stop the reinitiation. It's Piglet. Nobody's touching Piglet. They're all running away. Faker makes the fight continue, puts GoDlike in the fray, and they're gonna take down the turret. Oh my gosh.
Piglet is an assassin. We saw his Mystic shots in the previous game and his rockets in this one, but you have to say, RYL is making some questionable decisions. Wh1t, he had the failed turret dive, and then that initiation baited Tabe and GoDlike into dying, and this could be an extremely early inhibitor for SKT.
Jat, I feel we're back in Shanghai right now. Korea versus China, the All-Stars. It went heavily in favor of Korea once again, and this time around SK Telecom proving to the world that they surely are the best team right now.
A 16-minute inhibitor, RYL desperately trying to get away. Wh1t didn't play full Trickster over that wall, and they just cannot chase down onto SKT. Even if they could, they might lose that fight.
Good guy Faker, body slam, saves the ace in the hole for damage, and it looks like they're gonna set this up. GoDlike is right there. They have it. They got what they need. They take down GoDlike again, and just like last game, he was on Rumble. They are focusing in every fight.
Absolutely blown up. And let's take a look at that previous team fight. Wh1t is all alone. We talk about going in together. When RYL works, Tabe leads with that crescendo, not follow. GoDlike could never get in for his Kennen ultimate, and Uzi wasn't even there, so SKT could capitalize. Piglet, max range W to a max range missile, and he picks up yet another.
Disastrous, disastrous stuff for RYL. They are now 8,000 gold behind in potentially their final game with this lineup. Wh1t, alongside Tabe, has also announced that he will be retiring. If Tabe goes, he will go with him, and that's a big, big move for RYL, who themselves have been fantastic this season, but SK Telecom, who can stop these in the world right now? KT Rolls to beat were pretty much the only team that's come close. Najin Sword almost did it, but right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
No way.
Especially with that steal. And we know SK Telecom is a team who are slow starters. They lost a game to OMG in the group stage. They lost 2 games to Najin Black Sword in the semifinals. We're on the brink of elimination for 2 games in those semifinals, but once they get rolling, it seems like no one can stop them. If SKT wins that early game, which has been their weakness throughout the World Finals, there doesn't seem to be any coming back.
Deja vu for Tabe, finds himself needing to ward in the jungle, but SKT is already waiting for it. The pink wards are coming out in abundance right now, and there really is no safe spot to ward.
And this is just telltale signs. SK Telecom setting up kills, setting up ganks all across the map. Faker's going to come back around the side. Uzi's in trouble. Lucky's with him, but I don't think that's going to help out. Faker rolls the barrel in there and just bullies them out of this lane. He's quite confident because the rest of his team, they're taking Baron.
Faker is just playing like an offensive lineman right now, keeping RYL away. If anyone came in, he would blow them back or block them away with his explosive cast. That's a Baron for SKT before 20 minutes.
They're coming out very strong. RYL-esque, if you will. RYL was taking 20-minute Barons versus Fnatic. Not contested. It looks like it's going to be happening for them as well. Getting a little bit of their own medicine. Now pressured on the second tier turret that they would lose now in the top lane. They've lost them all.
They could get dove very soon here. This turret is incredibly dangerous to hold. RYL might lose it here. They're already down 10,000 gold and a Baron. Those barrels are crushing RYL down right now.
That surely needs to signal they disengage from RYL. They have to back away from it. Both of them, Lucky almost getting caught out. They're going to have to safeguard to Uzi. And that's an easy turret for SK Telecom. It's 7-2 in turrets, 11,000 gold lead. SK Telecom, they are already etching their name on that cup.
They can smell it right now. They are going to be going for this second inhibitor turret. There's already one down. RYL doesn't even have 5 people here.
Throws down the slicing Maelstrom, forced to go in, but he was Stranglethorn back. Can they continuously get the fight? Piglet got Chum the Waters on him, and they're now absolutely running for the fountain. This does not look good for RYL.
This doesn't, Crescendo catches all of them. It's a double for Impact. They get on the fountain. SK Telecom are just rolling through. The Nexus turrets are potentially going to go down. This could be a 20-minute game for SK Telecom. They will be the Season 3 World Champions here at the Staples Center.
And it was the most impressive victory at the end. SKT is the team that starts slow and finishes even stronger. But they started this best of 5 with a win. And after that, there was no stopping the Korean powerhouse.
SKT Telecom come into this game saying, you know, the Champions Cup would be lonely at home if we didn't bring back another one. So they find the Summoners Cup, and it will be placed in the SKT house right next to their win from Korea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the hype train is real. SK Telecom have won 2 trophies in the space of being together for 6 months.
Yeah, this is almost a new team, and not even say almost, a few months of last year into this year.
Sometimes when you have talent come together, everything just clicks. And you could tell for SKT, they definitely have some growing pains in the early game, but when they solve those things, they just seem nearly unstoppable. That last game was under 21 minutes. They had a 15,000 gold lead. It was 12 kills to 2. If they would have played a game 4, I don't know how fast it would have been, because it seemed every game they got farther and farther ahead of RYL. And
while nobody wants to see a 3-0, we have to take our hats off. That was an impressive performance by SK Telecom. They have dominated all 3 of these games. Game 2 was a little bit closer. Game 1 was